Hey there, this is Jennifer Simonetti-Bryan, Master of Wine here at the Weekly Tasting, and this week we are talking about Pinot Noir. Pinot Noir, as some of you already know, is a noble grape variety. What does noble mean? A noble grape variety means that it has stood the test of time, is known for its high quality, and in this case, Pinot Noir is a red grape variety that really shows where it's from. So we say it's terroir. It shows where it's from. It's kind of like an accent, if you think about it. If you have this person who is, let's say, born in New York and then goes off to live in, I don't know, California, or maybe in Texas, they're gonna probably develop an accent over time. Same thing with Pinot Noir. If you take Pinot Noir from where it's originally grown in Burgundy, that's the birthplace of Pinot Noir, and grow it in Oregon or California, it's gonna have a different accent or a different expression of that grape. Having said that, some things are still the same. So it's still known for its high acidity, and it's known for having little to no bitterness. So it's a very elegant wine. So, all right, let's go through the wines. The first wine we have is from Burgundy. Burgundy is the birthplace and home of Pinot Noir, and this wine comes from the region of Santenay. Now, for those of you who have been to France, you may know this, but for those who haven't or not been to different wine regions around France, the word chateau you see all over, let's say, the Loire and Bordeaux and in some other areas, but in Burgundy, you don't see chateau on the label. Chateau in French means castle, and in Burgundy, there aren't very many castles, if any at all. It actually looks like Pennsylvania farmland a lot, and so they use the word domain instead of the word chateau. So that's something that you'll notice on the label. This is from Santenay, and Santenay is known for having one of the rare chateaux and castles in Burgundy. It was owned by the Duke of Burgundy, Philip the Bold, from the 14th century, and what he was known for, well, in the wine world, he outlawed Gamay, the grape variety known in Beaujolais, and he outlawed anyone planting it, saying it's inferior to Pinot Noir. So he favored Pinot Noir over Gamay and actually outlawed people from planting it. So we have him to thank for, from the 14th century and on, a favor towards Pinot Noir. So thank you, Philip the Bold. In this region, Santenay, it's not as famous in the Côte de Beaune, which is the southern part of Burgundy. And this region, Santenay, is the most southern commune, I believe. Yeah, I think it is. And it's also known as a satellite region. What does that mean? It's not as famous as Volnay or Pommard in Burgundy, which are known for being really high quality communes, but Santenay being a satellite, this is great news for us. Why? Because we can actually afford it, and it's got a lot of the great characteristics that you see in the Côte de Beaune. Pinot Noir here, you can tell that it's from a cool climate. How do you know that? Because it's high in acidity, it's pale in color, light in body in comparison to other regions, and it also has moderate alcohol, so maybe about 13%. So when you taste this, it's also very aromatic. Cool climates, Pinot Noir generally has a lot more perfume to the wines. I get a lot of strawberry, wild strawberry, and I also get some red cherry. But in Burgundy, it's also known for a minerality. The soil here is limestone, which they can't explain why, but it always seems to lend itself into the wine like a minerality to the wine, as well as high acidity. So that's what you're getting out of this. But I also get some earthiness in here, and I get some spice as well. This sees maybe about a third of new French oak barrels. So a third of it is a new French oak, the rest of it is an older oak, but that will lend a vanilla or brown spice in this wine. So this is wonderful, and it's very, very elegant, and it's a really lovely vintage, and it's drinking well now, but you could probably lay it down for a few years as well. In terms of food pairing, I think this would be great with a coq au vin. What is coq au vin? Coq au vin is like beef bourguignon, but instead of using beef, beef bourguignon is beef braised in red wine, Burgundy, and coq au vin is chicken braised in red wine. And the recipe itself has been around since Julius Caesar. And coq au vin and the coq and coq au vin, it refers to a rooster. And the reason why they used to braise the rooster meat in red wine is because there was a lot more toughness in the meat and a lot more, it took a lot of time to soften that up. So that's why coq au vin. And it was also popularized by Julia Child. So that's how I came to know it, because my mom made anything that Julia Child made. And I actually went to school with coq au vin in my thermos, which the teachers were very jealous of. But that is coq au vin. I think it would go extremely well with this. It'll bring out some of that red berry and cherry flavors in this wine, and I think you would definitely enjoy that. The second wine we have in this flight is from the Willamette Valley in Oregon. We go off to the west coast from Burgundy. So we go from Burgundy to the west coast, and the Willamette Valley is just a short day trip from Portland, Oregon. And so it's west of the Cascade Mountains, which the influence from the Pacific Ocean. You've got a lot of that cool morning breezes, and you've got a lot of cool influence coming in from the Pacific, which Pinot Noir likes. Pinot Noir likes cool climates. But 2015 was a hot and dry vintage. So you're going to get some of the high acidity from those cooling influences and lower level of bitterness, but you're also going to get intense fruitiness. In this wine, in the Willamette Valley, I usually get a lot more black cherry tones than the light red strawberry tones I'm getting in Burgundy. So yeah, that's what I usually get here, and I get it in this wine. You also have a little touch of earthiness, more so than you would get in California. And what I also get here is some vanilla and some brown spice, and that comes from New French Oak. And it's a third New French Oak, and why do we care about that? Well, the first wine we had, the Santenay, is, I should say, a 1/3 New French Oak, and the same for this wine from the Willamette Valley. When you compare and contrast two different wines with the same winemaking techniques, it makes it more apples to apples. So if you taste these two wines side by side, you'll be able to say, wow, it's the same grape, made in the same way, but this is the difference that terroir, or the region, the micro region around the grapevine, actually makes. That's going to be interesting. In terms of food pairing, one of my favorite with Willamette Pinot Noir is bacon wrapped scallops. But if you wanted to mix it up a little bit, you could probably go with pork. For some reason, Pinot Noir and pork are a beautiful match together, and I think even having a cranberry sauce, just like you would for turkey, would go extremely well and really bring out some of those red berry tones in this wine. Not that you need it, because it's so intense on the nose and perfumed, but hopefully you will try that, and I think you will like it. The third and final wine of this pack is from Sonoma County. Now, did you know that Sonoma County has more acres under vine than the Napa Valley? I know, that's crazy, right? Everyone knows Napa Valley, and it's only an hour-and-a-half trip up north from San Francisco on a good day with traffic, but when you get there, the tourist infrastructure is really fantastic in Napa, and everybody knows it. It's very easy, and Napa Valley is just that. It's a valley. It's like this U-shaped valley where you have two mountain ranges and the valley in between. And that collects a lot of the sunshine and the hot air, which is the reason why Cabernet Sauvignon and Merlot do really well in the Napa Valley. However, in Sonoma, on the other side of the mountains, on the west side of the mountains, you have a lot of microclimates, a lot of pockets where the cooling influence from the Pacific Ocean comes in and makes it really a nice microclimate for Pinot Noir. Pinot Noir is kind of like the Paris Hilton of grapes, or the Diva of grapes, where it doesn't grow in all kinds of climates. So it likes it cool, and it likes those morning fogs that come in. And if you're looking for touristy things to do in Sonoma, it's a nature's paradise. That's what a lot of people from San Francisco do. They go up to taste wine, but they also go there to play golf or hike or even kayaking along the Russian River Valley, which is a very high quality region for Pinot Noir. So this wine, it's beautiful. It has a very different character than the Oregon or the Burgundy that we had earlier. This has a lot more red fruit than you see in the Willamette Valley. So it's very bright red cherry, and it's a little candied. So it's a candied red cherry flavor that I get, and I also get something else. It's how I identify Sonoma and particularly Russian River, but I get it in here, is cherry Coke. I know you're not going to see that on any professional wine tasting notes anywhere, but it's what I get on my palate. It's kind of a cherry Coke kind of spice to it. So you get some brown spice, cherry Coke, and you get the vanilla, and because there's certainly some oak in here as well. On the palate, you're going to get a warmth there. Sonoma County is further south than the Willamette Valley in Oregon, and it's got a lot of sunshine, and you're going to taste that in the wine. It tastes even riper than the Oregon, and certainly a lot riper than the Santenay. You get fresh berries in the Santenay. This even feels even riper and richer and deeper. But with that ripeness also comes alcohol, because if you increase the sugar, you increase the alcohol after fermentation. So this is a little warm on the back palate. So if you like Cabernet Sauvignon, or you're like Merlots at a higher level of alcohol, you're gonna like this wine because it's lower in bitterness, but you still get that nice warmth on the back palate. In terms of food pairing, because this is a much bigger boy than the wines that we have in this pack, it's gonna go with a richer dish. So for example, lamb, or you may even want to put this with a hamburger. I would. Definitely with something a bit richer and beefier. Well, that's it for this week's pack. I hope you are as excited as I am about this pack. I love this pack, and I hope you enjoy it. And until next time, cheers.